Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Dialogue. I'm Leo, and I'm very happy you're here with us today. Whether you're listening in the morning, on your way home, or just taking a quiet break, thank you for spending your time with us.
And I'm Jack. Hey, everyone. It's really good to be back. I hope your day is going well so far.
So, Jack, today I want to talk about something that affects almost everyone at some point: motivation. More specifically, I want to ask a very simple question. Do we actually need motivation to get things done?
That is a very dangerous question, Leo, because I spent a large part of my life waiting for motivation. I've waited for motivation to clean my room, to exercise, to answer emails, to study, to work on personal projects, and honestly, motivation is not very loyal. It disappears exactly when I need it most.
That's a great way to put it. A lot of people treat motivation like it's the magic key to productivity. They think, once I feel motivated, everything will become easier. But real life usually doesn't work that way.
Exactly. I think many people imagine motivation as this big emotional wave. Like one morning you wake up, the sun is shining, your room is clean, your coffee tastes perfect, and suddenly you feel ready to change your whole life.
That fantasy is very common.
But in reality, most mornings feel normal, or messy, or sleepy, or stressful. And when I don't feel excited, I usually tell myself, okay, maybe not today. I'll do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow feels the same.
And that's where people often get stuck. They think the problem is, I don't have enough motivation. But sometimes the real problem is that they are waiting for the perfect emotional condition before they begin.
That is definitely me. I wait until I feel mentally ready. I wait until I feel energetic. I wait until I feel focused. And the truth is, I rarely feel all three of those things at the same time.
Most people don't, and that's why motivation can be helpful but unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you have it, some days you don't. If your progress depends only on motivation, then your progress will always be unstable.
Unstable is the perfect word. My motivation is extremely unstable. One day I'm writing goals, making lists, planning my future, and telling myself this is the new version of me. Then 2 days later, I'm sitting on the sofa, watching random videos, and pretending I never made those plans.
And that cycle is exhausting. It can make people feel guilty, lazy, or disappointed in themselves. But often they don't need more motivation, they need a better approach.
So let's talk about that. If motivation is unreliable, then what should people depend on instead?
A better system, smaller actions, and discipline.
There it is again, discipline. That word always sounds so serious. It sounds like something only super organized people have.
I know. A lot of people hear the word discipline and imagine a very intense lifestyle. They imagine someone waking up at 5 in the morning, running 10 kilometers, taking cold showers, and never wasting a single minute.
Yes, exactly. Discipline sounds like it belongs to someone with 6 alarms, a perfect calendar, and no emotional weakness.
But real discipline is often much quieter than that. It doesn't have to be extreme. Sometimes discipline simply means doing a small thing even when you don't feel like doing it.
So not some dramatic life transformation, just a small action.
Exactly. For example, if I don't feel like studying, I still open my notebook and review for 10 minutes. If I don't feel like exercising, I still stretch for 5 minutes. If I don't feel like cleaning, I still tidy one corner of the room.
That sounds much more realistic. I think one of my biggest problems is that I make every task feel huge in my mind. If I think about exercising, I picture a full workout. If I think about studying English, I imagine 1 or 2 hours at the desk. If I think about cleaning, I imagine the entire apartment.
And when the task feels huge, your brain resists it.
Yes, exactly. I look at the task and immediately feel tired before I even begin.
That's why small steps matter so much. Small steps reduce resistance. They make the beginning easier. And often, once you begin, finishing feels much less painful than you expected.
That is so true. Honestly, sometimes the hardest part is not the task itself. The hardest part is walking towards it, starting it, opening the document, putting on the shoes, sitting at the desk.
Yes, starting is often the real challenge. People think they need more energy to finish the whole thing, but really they just need enough energy to begin.
I like that idea a lot because finish everything feels heavy, but just begin feels possible.
And possible is powerful. When something feels possible, your mind is less likely to fight you. That's why it often helps to lower the pressure. Don't tell yourself, I must do this perfectly. Tell yourself, I'll just do a little.
I think that would help me a lot, especially with work. Sometimes I procrastinate because I think I need a long, perfect, highly focused work session. But maybe I do better if I just said, work for 10 minutes and see what happens.
That's a very good strategy. 10 minutes is enough to create momentum. Once your brain is engaged, the task becomes more familiar and your resistance often drops.
Momentum really changes everything. I've noticed that when I actually begin something, I usually don't hate it as much as I expected. The dread before starting is often worse than the activity itself.
Absolutely. And that's why relying only on feelings can be misleading. Feelings are real, but they are not always good leaders. If you wait until you feel perfect, you may wait for a very long time.
That sentence hurts a little, but it's true.
That's true. Sometimes the truth is a little uncomfortable. So, would you say motivation is useless?
No, not at all. Motivation is helpful. It can give you energy, excitement, and momentum. The problem is not motivation itself. The problem is depending on it too much.
So, motivation is like a bonus, not a foundation.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to say it. Motivation is a bonus, a helpful extra, but the foundation should be habits, systems, and repeatable actions.
I really like that because I think I've been building everything on emotion. If I feel good, I do things. If I don't feel good, everything stops.
And that creates inconsistency. One strong day followed by 3 inactive days, a burst of energy followed by silence.
That is very much my style, unfortunately.
And you're not alone. Many people live in this cycle of all or nothing. They either want to do everything perfectly or they do nothing at all.
That's why small, repeatable actions are usually more effective. Reading 2 pages every day is better than planning to read 50 pages once a week and never doing it. Studying vocabulary for 10 minutes every day is often better than waiting for one perfect 2-hour study session.
That makes sense. Small actions feel less exciting, but they're probably more real.
Exactly. They may feel less dramatic, but they are more sustainable. And sustainable habits are what change your life over time.
I think that's an important point. People often want change to feel dramatic. They want a big emotional turning point. But maybe real progress is usually quieter than that.
It usually is. Real progress often looks boring from the outside. It looks like repetition. It looks like showing up when you don't feel amazing. It looks like doing the simple thing again and again.
That's actually kind of comforting. It removes some of the pressure. You don't need to become a completely new person tomorrow. You just need to become a little more consistent today.
A little more consistent today. I like that. And there's another important part of this conversation: environment.
Ah, yes, because sometimes the problem isn't just motivation. Sometimes the problem is that your environment makes good habits difficult.
Exactly. If you want to read more, put a book where you can see it. If you want to study English, keep your notebook open on the desk. If you want to spend less time on your phone, don't keep it in your hand every minute of the day.
That one is for me. My phone is always next to me. Even when I say I'm going to focus, I somehow end up checking one message, then another, then social media, then something completely unrelated, and suddenly 15 minutes are gone.
And then people say, I have no motivation, when sometimes the real issue is distraction. Your attention keeps getting interrupted before it can settle.
That is such a good point. Maybe I don't always lack motivation. Maybe my focus is just being stolen again and again.
Exactly. And when you understand the real problem, you can ask better questions. Instead of asking, how do I become more motivated, you can ask, how do I make this easier to start? Or how do I remove distractions? Or how do I make this habit simpler to repeat?
Those questions feel much more practical. They feel easier to answer. Find motivation sounds mysterious, but do 5 minutes sounds possible.
Yes, and again, possible is powerful. So if someone listening right now feels completely unmotivated, what should they do today?
I would say this: choose one tiny action, just one. Not a complete reset, not a giant plan, just one small action you can finish today.
Like what?
Reply to one email, review 10 English words, clean one shelf, stretch for 5 minutes, write one paragraph, go for a short walk. The point is not to impress yourself. The point is to start moving.
That's really good advice. I think people often believe small progress doesn't matter, but it does. In fact, small progress might be the only kind that really lasts.
I agree. Small progress is still progress, and repeated small progress becomes a big result over time.
Honestly, this conversation makes me feel calmer about productivity. It feels less like a battle now.
That's good to hear. Productivity doesn't always need to feel intense. Sometimes it just needs to feel doable. All right, before we finish, let's go over some useful vocabulary from today's conversation.
Great idea. First, we have motivation. Motivation is the feeling or desire that makes you want to do something. For example, I had no motivation to study last night.
Next is discipline. Discipline means training yourself to do something regularly and responsibly, even when you don't feel like it. For example, discipline helped her keep practicing every day.
Then we have consistent. If you are consistent, you keep doing something regularly over time. For example, he wasn't perfect, but he was consistent.
Another useful phrase is feel like doing something. This means you have the desire or mood to do it. For example, I don't feel like cooking tonight.
We also used put things off. This means to delay something or procrastinate. For example, I keep putting off my homework until the last minute.
And finally, small steps. This means making progress slowly and realistically, one step at a time.
So, here's the message we want to leave you with today. You do not need to change your whole life in one day. You do not need to wait for the perfect mood. You just need one small step, then another, then another.
And if you've been waiting around for motivation, maybe this is your sign to stop waiting and simply begin.
We'd love to hear from you. What do you do when you don't feel motivated? Leave us a comment and try to use one of today's vocabulary words in your answer.
And if this episode helped you, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
Thank you so much for joining us on Daily English Dialogue.
Take care, everyone.
Stay consistent, take small steps, and happy practicing.